these polls are going to feature in a later video, something to do with the privacy of the house out the front. But today's topic, that was totally unplanned, has presented itself today. So it's going to be a how-to video. It's sort of a heads-up video and a how-to, or just some observations and possible suggestions. It doesn't matter how long you live in Japan or how normal your life becomes. So for most foreign people, when they first move to Japan, their life is pretty different from the average Japanese person, because you know where they live and how they communicate, and their whole life when they first come to Japan, when we first come to Japan, is different from the average Japanese person's, of course. However, if you live here long term and you have a Japanese family and you live in a house in a normal area with a lot of other Japanese people, and you have a normal sort of life and go to work and come home and pay your bills and pay your taxes and do all the normal stuff, your life really isn't that much different from the people around you. It's sort of inevitably what it becomes. And it's sort of what we aim for as well, because you know, you want to sort of be a part of what's going on around you. You don't want to be the odd one out all the time. Some people do, and those people will probably won't have a problem at all with this video, because for them it will be okay. But this video is sort of a heads up video for people who just want to blend in and be a part of what's going on around them. And we've made a lot of videos sort of on that topic over the years, you know, how to sort of fit in and blend in, just because we've found it works. But it depends on the personality. Some people like to stand out and be centre of attention and things like that, so for them it's different. But what happens is, inevitably, when you go somewhere, actually I'll just tell you what happened today. We went to a place, actually went out to a farm, and it was a strawberry farm, and we went out there with a group of people. So it was one of the groups that we're involved in, right? One of the mamatachi groups, one of the mother groups. So all these mothers are sort of have kids about the same age. So we went there, and because it's the weekend, you know, there were fathers there too. So it was just a bunch of families out in this field picking strawberries, which was all very pleasant. And in places like that, I just try to blend in quietly and just, you know, focus on the kids and just, you know, have a normal experience, you know. But it's sort of inevitable when you're somewhere like that, doing something like that. It's inevitable, and you get, you know, everybody else is just talking about what a nice day it is, you know, how nice the strawberries are, how kind the old guy is to let us do it. You know, just the normal stuff that people talk about, you know, that, oh look, there's some snails eating these lettuce, and you know, that's what normal people talk about, you know. And some people do that with me too, you know. But inevitably, you know, there was one dude there, one father there who I'd never met before, and his first thing was, he said, you know, konnichiwa, oh konnichiwa. Oh, how long have you been in Japan? Now, all in Japanese, right? I won't bore you with the Japanese, but all in Japanese, you know. How long have you been in Japan? First question. And it just, I remember seeing on the internet once, somebody said, every time they get a question like that, it feels like the person's saying, hey, you're a foreigner, right? And it's sort of, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like, is you're just trying to be part of the group, doing what everybody else is doing. And it's not about me, it's supposed to be about the kids picking strawberries, you know. But inevitably you get somebody, and it's just the first thing. Now, I'm not criticising the person for doing it. What it is we're living in a place where, you know, you rarely see a foreigner. So when they do see a foreigner, the first thing they want to do is talk about the fact that you're a foreigner, right? And they don't think that's wrong, they don't think it's a problem. And a lot of you guys watching, there'll be some people watching this who would enjoy it, because suddenly you're centre of attention. And what happened was, and this is what happens every time, one person asks a question like that, and then everybody turns and listens, right? Because maybe they've been wondering the same thing and they want to know the answer. So suddenly they turn and listen. Suddenly you're on a stage. Suddenly you're standing on a stage, and then you're getting one question after another, and it's always the same questions, you know, how long have you been in Japan? Oh, your Japanese is really good. They say that whether your Japanese is good or not. They tell you how good your Japanese is. and then you've got to answer sort of with modest sort of answer like, oh no, I'm still a beginner or something like that. That's the right answer. And where are you from? And all the questions, the standard questions that you get every time. And they're all standing around, and suddenly you're on a stage being questioned about all these things. Now, nobody there, of course, will do this to anybody else. Now, of course, there'll be some people watching this going, well, of course, right? Because everybody else is Japanese, everyone else is the same. So, you know, nobody else is getting asked these questions, of course, and nobody else is being put on a stage and questioned by everybody around them, but me. So then you're standing there asking one question after another about yourself, you know, and then one person broke out some English that was pretty average. Now, again, the intention of these guys isn't negative, right? The intention of these guys is positive. They're trying to be friendly, but it's the same stuff every time, you know. And then someone trots out some English. Now, why are they doing that? They're probably doing it because they think it's fun, or they want to practice their English, or they want to show the others that they can speak some English or something. But again, that's isolating you again, because up until now, all this interrogation was all being done in Japanese, and all my answers were in Japanese. And then suddenly someone trots out some English, and it's like, well, why are you doing that? You know, it's not benefiting me to trot out some B-grade English. You know, is not helping me, and because that's all that nobody else there could understand what that person was saying anyway. So it was really just for their benefit. They were trotting out some English to show they could speak, and of course the other people will go, oh, sugoi, you know, she can speak some English, oh, sugoi, and it's not sugoi, it's not excellent, it's just annoying. Why are you speaking English to me? I'm being questioned in Japanese, I'm answering in Japanese, and now you're trotting out English. That's not helping me, right? It's just further isolating me, you know. And again, it depends on your personality. Some people love it. Some people, there used to be a cartoon on the internet, a comic called Charisma Man, and the premise was that, you know, Joe Average, some boring dude that, you know, in his own country he's boring and no one listens to him, and then he suddenly comes to Japan and becomes Charisma Man because everybody's interested in you and everybody's asking you questions and all these sorts of things. And there's some people that have that Charisma Man thing going on. They like it. They like it because they like being centre of attention, and they like answering the questions, and they like, you know, the topic to be about them, you know. And so those people, you know, they can just go with it and they'll love it, you know. But for some of us, you just get sick of it. You just get sick of it. I just wanted to be there with the family and you know, watch the kids picking strawberries, and it was supposed to be all about the kids. And suddenly you've got this ring of adults standing around you in a circle, asking you questions. You know, where are you from? How long have you been here? Why'd you come to Japan? Rah, rah, rah. And some of them will ask questions, and the others will just stand there and listen. You know, and it's, again, it's not criticising those people, but you know, they've got no idea. If they'd lived in another country for a period of time, maybe they'd know what that feels like. But of course they haven't. So for them, they're not doing anything wrong. They don't think it's a problem, you know. And for a lot of you guys watching, you wouldn't think it was a problem either. But for some of us, it does your head in. It does your head in. And over the years, I've spoken to different foreigners about this. And you know, some of them, I know a couple of Charisma Man types here who like it. But over the years, I've spoken to a lot of other foreigners who don't like it, and it drives them crazy, you know. And it's a shogunai one, right? Japanese people say shogunai, and that just means it's just what it is, and it means it's not going to change. You can't stop it. If you try and explain this to a Japanese person why you don't like it, they usually don't get it anyway. So there's no point in trying to explain it to anybody why you don't like it, because it just doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's going to happen. So you just have to accept it, and then you just have to just accept it, and then just answer their questions, you know, subject yourself to the interrogation, answer all their questions, be patient, and then as soon as possible just change the subject to something else and move on, you know. But it drives you nuts. It's sort of inevitable. Anytime you go anywhere where there's a group of people who don't know you, you'll get this, you know, you'll get this interrogation thing, you know, and you just have to accept that that's the way it is. So this is sort of a heads up saying that if you spend time in Japan now, it doesn't matter how many decades you live here, It never stops, and that's what makes it worse. I think when you first come here, it's sort of fun. It is that charisma man thing. When you first come here, all of a sudden you're centre of attention, and it is sort of fun, you know. But after you've lived here for a few decades, and you're just living a normal life like everybody else, you know, to sort of blend in, everything's cool. You're just blending in, picking strawberries with the kids, and then suddenly you're on a stage or under a spotlight being interrogated about your life. And you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because they don't do it to anyone else. They never do it to a Japanese person. So where are you from? How long have you been living in this town? And you know, what do you do for a living? And oh, and amongst it all too, they called me an ALT. I heard you're an ALT. No, I'm not a fucking ALT. I'm a bit sensitive about it. I hate that one. I hate that one. Now again, being an ALT is fine. Some people like it. Made a video about this once before, being an assistant language teacher. But I wouldn't do it for $1 million. I just don't have the personality for it. You have to have a sort of an entertainer's personality to be an ALT. I could never do it for any money. Some of you saw that video recently. I got a phone call from someone asking if I wanted to do it. And as much as I need the money, I just couldn't do it. I'd rather not be able to pay my bills. It's terrible, isn't it? But it's just, see, it depends on your type. All of this, whether you like to be an ALT or not, or whether you like to be questioned by people and be the centre of attention under the spotlight or not. You know, it just depends on your personality, doesn't it? But irrelevant of your personality, if you're not Japanese and you're living in Japan, this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get, and you just got to accept it. Just got to accept it and be as gracious as you can. It's hard, and because they don't know that if this has happened to you already. Goodness knows how many times this has happened to me. Couple of hundred, maybe more, you know. I used to go on Taikai, Kyudo Taikai, so the archery, Japanese archery Taikai, sort of like competitions, and go to other towns and other prefectures, you know, and do these competitions, and inevitable. And I'll be there wearing the same clothes as everybody else, speaking the same, saying the same things as everybody else, doing the same thing as everybody else. But inevitably, because I look different, I'd get this interrogation. And again, big group of people, and once one person starts interrogating it, they all turn and listen. And then the other people start asking you questions too, and then suddenly you've got this big ring of people around you, spotlights on you, and they're all just asking you questions about your life. It's weird, because it doesn't happen to you in your own country, does it? And it doesn't happen to them in their own country either. But, you know, and it probably wouldn't happen if you went to a lot of places, you know, travel around Europe or somewhere like that, it wouldn't happen to you either, would it? Because, you know, people are sort of used to it, sort of multicultural sort of environment where you get people from all sorts of countries. It's more cosmopolitan, isn't it? Whereas here, if you look different, straight away you're a foreigner. Straight away, you know, where are you from? And occasionally I'll get facetious and they'll say to me, you know, some total stranger somewhere will say, where are you from? And sometimes I just say the name of my town in Japan. The name of my town in Japan, that's where I'm from. And they go, oh no, I mean originally, where are you from? You know, and anyway, so again, some of you guys watching this will think, oh, that sounds like fun, I could handle that. And some of you will be watching this going, oh, I don't think I could handle that. So it's a heads up, You know, those people that talk about wanting to move to Japan and wanting to live in Japan forever, this is the stuff that can do your head in. And these things contribute to some people giving up and leaving because they're sick of being outsiders. They're sick of feeling like outsiders here all the time, you know, and it'll lead to them leaving and going back to their own country. So this is a bit of a heads up. If you like that sort of thing, if you like being centre of attention, you'll love it, no problem at all. If you're not keen on being centre of attention and having the spotlight put on you, then too bad. You'll just have to get used to it. You'll just have to get used to it and be cool about it. So. Anyway, I want to finish this painting now. That was just a quick heads up video for you guys. More videos coming soon.